So this, so I am about to cover this one in today's session. So in general, while working with relational databases, you might be making use of Oracle. So you will be installing in the Windows Server Oracle server, and there you will create database, some users in the server, in the server machine, and in the client machine you will be opening in the application development SQL plus IDE or SQL command line, and from there you will be working with variety of commands. So instead of setting up all these things, so instead of setting up Windows server, Oracle server, creating database, I mean all these are linked with so much of cost factor. Instead of that, we have an alternative in the AWS. So this AWS is having a service called RDS, where we can create a database, and we can connect to this one from a virtual machine created using EC2. And in the EC2, we install MariaDB, and with the help of this MariaDB, we can get MySQL shell. So in MySQL shell, you can work with the, you can create the, you can connect with the database created. You can create the tables. You can do all the variety of operations, and you can also access this database from a Java program. So in that case, you might be depending upon an IDE. Maybe you can install in your computer Eclipse or Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio, or you can make use of a service called Cloud9, which is present here, and there you can write a Java program, and from this Java program you are able to access the database created with the help of the RDS service. So you can also, instead of connecting, you can also connect to this from a desktop client also, something like MySQL Workbench. So MySQL Workbench is one of the IDE. From here you can connect with the RDS database. So these are the variety of options you can make use while working with the relational databases. So you can create with the help of the RDS a relational database, and you can connect to that from an EC2. So with the help of the EC2, we create a virtual computer, and in that virtual computer or server, we can install MariaDB, and because of this MariaDB, we will be getting MySQL shell. There you can run variety of SQL commands to create, update, delete, insert. You can perform these kind of operations on the table. If you want, you can also write a Java program, and from this Java program you can connect with the RDS database, and if you want, you can connect to this RDS database from MySQL Workbench. So in this session I am about to handle this one. We create, so I'm about to introduce this one. We create an RDS database, and we connect to this RDS database from EC2 MySQL shell. So the first thing we need to do here is, uh, at first you create a key pair. So because of this key pair, we are able to connect with the EC2 instance from, so we can make use of, we make use of this key pair while connecting with the EC2 instance. So at first we create the EC2 instance, then we create the RDS instance. So from this RDS instance, while creating RDS instance, we can see the option to connect to EC2. There we select the EC2 instance created. and then we will be connecting after the connection with EC2. After connection from EC2, we will be working with, we will be using these commands. So let us try this. The first thing you need to do here is, so you should log in into AWS. So you log in into your AWS account with the help of the button provided in the top right corner. So the first thing you need to do here is you create the key pair. So to create the key pair, you search here key pair. So you search for key pair, you can find this one. So you click on this one. So I have already created a key and it is showing that one. When you want to create a new key pair, you click on this key pair, create key pair button. Now it will ask you for the name of the key and which kind of file you want. So here I am making the name of the key as key2, and we are choosing this one. Actually, we try to connect it to EC2 with the help of the SSH. Because of that reason, we are choosing this one. So I have made the name of the key pair as key2, and finally click on this button create key pair. So this will let you create the key pair. So here I have now created the key pair key2. Now we will be using this one while connecting with the EC2 instance. So this will also download the key we have created. If you want, you can use this while you can use whenever necessary. And the next thing we have to do here is you connect with the, you create an EC2 instance. So right now we have created the key pair. So we have created the key pair. Next thing we have to do here is we need to create the EC2 instance. Then we will create the RDS and then we will do connection. So right now we need to create the EC2 instance. To create the EC2 instance, you search for EC2 in the text box provided after services. Now you can find this one EC2. You click on this one. Now it will show a summary like this. How many instances are running? So you can see like that. You can see some information like this. So let me delete the existing one. I will create a new instance. So when you want to delete the existing instance, you select the instance, and in the instance state you can click on the, you can expand this instance state and you can find here an option terminate instance. So now it will be terminating the instance. Now let me create a new instance. So in the EC2 you can find an EC2 dashboard, you can find an option called launch instance. So we use this to create the EC2 instance. You click on this launch instance. Now it will ask you for the name of the EC2 instance and which kind of operating system you want in your virtual computer. and what is the key pair you want to use while connection, and whether you want any security group, means firewall. So how much memory you want. So all this you need to provide while creating the EC2 instance. So here I am creating a virtual server. So let this be my server 2. And I am using in this the operating system Amazon Linux. So you check here whether it is free tier eligible or not. So if I click on this Mac OS, you can see here there is no option like free tier eligible. So when you select Ubuntu, now you can see here free tier eligible. So you select the operating system which is eligible in the free tier. So now I am choosing the Amazon Linux. Then in the bottom you select the hardware configuration. So you can select variety of the hardware configurations. So I'm not changing this one. By default there you can see t2.macro type configuration. And then it is asking me to the key pair file to be used while connections. So when you expand this, you can see the keys which are available. So we are with the two keys available. This is the one we have recently created, just now created. I'm using this one. And finally, so you choose this one, create a security group. If you want, you can use the existing one also. This is, and finally you click on the launch instance. Now this will create an EC2 instance for you. So after successful creation of the EC2 instance, you are able to see this one. And here you can see the EC2 dashboard. In the EC2 dashboard, now you are able to see how many instances of EC2 running. So you click on these instances. So this is the one which we have created here. My server 2 is, so my server 2 is the one which I have created here. So you can see its properties. So you can click on this. If you want, you can see its properties. What is its public, what is its IP address? So what are its other related properties? You can see here by clicking on this that EC2 instance, you can see its properties. So its operating system is Amazon Linux. So here you can see several properties related to this one. So now I have created the EC2 instance. Its name is my server 2. And then the next step I have to do here is I need to create the relational RDS instance. So RDS instance is the one which we use when we want to work with the relational databases like SQL. So the next thing we have to do here is creation of the RDS instance. So while creating RDS instance, you can find the option to connect with the EC2. So now let me create the EC2 instance, RDS instance, excuse me. So here you search for RDS. So just beside the services, you can find a text box like, so here you search for RDS. So when you want to work with the RD relational databases, you can make use of this service. So when you search for this RDS, you can see a service like this. So when you want to create a database, you make use of this button, create database. So you click on this create database button. So here you make use of, so while showing, So in the create database screen, you are able to see like this, the option standard create, easy create, and which kind of database you want to create. So it will be asking us to this kind of, so which kind of database you want to create, it will be asking for this kind of options. And before proceeding with this, let me check whether there are any databases already present. So let me delete any instances which are already available. So you click on the database and go to these actions. Here you can find delete. So you click on this. So it asked me to enter delete me. So now it will be deleting the instance which is already present. Now I will create a fresh instance. After successful deletion of the instance, you can see a green color dialog box here. Just wait. Okay, now let me try to create the new database. Okay, meanwhile, let me click on this button, create database. With the help of this, you can create the database. You click on this one. Now it will be asking me for the name of the database. So let it delete. Please just wait. It is deleting the instance which is already present. So when you click on this create database, you are able to see options like this. So here you make use of the easy create. It will be asking, it will be showing you first two options, whether you want to use standard create or easy create. So you select the easy create. Then it will ask you for the type of the database you want. So whether you want to work with the Oracle database, so it will be asking for the kind of the database. So I am choosing here MySQL. And here you look at the next option here. So here which kind of MySQL you want to use here, whether it is of type production, dev or test, free tier. So make use of this one, free tier. And here it will be asking you for the name of the database. So let me make the name of this database as database some WS. So then it will be asking us to set the username and password to connect with this database. So I have made the name of the username as admin, and you give here some password. So I am giving here the password as administrator. See that your password is having at least 8 characters. So I have made there the password as administrator, all small letters. And just below this one, you can find setup EC2 connection. So when you expand this, so you can see here Don't connect to EC2 computer resource. Connect to an EC2 computer resource. So while creating database, it will show this kind of option. So from this, we can connect with the EC2 instance. So you make use of this one, connect to an EC2 computer resource. So here you can choose the instance of EC2 that you have created in the previous step. So the server I have created here is my server 2. So then finally you click on this create database. So while creating database, I have chosen these options. You look once again here. So I have chosen the easy create option, MySQL, and here the addition free tier, and I have made the name of the database as database WS, and you need to set the credentials for connecting to this database. I have made the username as admin and password as administrator, and here itself I have configured the connection to EC2 instance. So to which EC2 instance you want to connect. So to connect with the EC2 instance, you choose this option, connect to an EC2 compute resource. Here you select the EC2 we have created in the previous step. And finally, you click on the create database. So now this will create a database for us. So you don't choose any of them. So now it will create a database for us. After successful creation, you are able to see there a green color dialog. So you can see the status here, database WS creating. Please just wait. It is creating database for us. So once your database is ready, you can connect with that from EC2. So now it is creating database. Meanwhile, maybe it is taking some time. Meanwhile, let me show you how to work with the non-SQL. Okay, it has successfully created. Now you can see here the database created. So it has created successfully the database WS. And the next thing we have to do here is, so till now we did this one. We have created a key pair, and then we have created an EC2 instance. Then we have created RDS instance. So while creating RDS instance, we have seen the option to connect with the EC2. There we have chosen the EC2 instance. Then you connect from. So now we are ready with the EC2 instance and RDS instance. Now from EC2 instance, we try to access this database. So from EC2 instance, now we try to access the database. So first you connect with the EC2 instance, then you install the MariaDB in this. So because of this MariaDB, we get the MySQL shell. There you can make use of the variety of commands. So you can use that commands for performing a variety of operations. So here go to EC2. So in the EC2 dashboard, you are able to see the instances running. So we are ready with the virtual computer and we are ready with the database. And now you go to the EC2 instance you have created. You click on this one, the EC2 instance we have created, and then click on this connect button. So it will ask us for these things. So you don't do any, you choose, so you leave the default options. You don't do any changes. So click on this connect button. So now it will let us connect to the EC2 instance created. So after connection with the EC2, you are able to see like this. So after connecting with EC2, you are able to see a screen or a terminal related to that EC2 instance like this. So this is the name of the EC2 instance created, and you are able to see its IP address also here. So this is the IP address of the virtual server I have created. Now the first thing you need to do here is you need to make yourself as the administrator. You need to install here MariaDB, because of which you will be getting MySQL, and there you can make use of the variety of operations to interact with the database. So here, after connecting to the EC2 instance, the first thing you need to do here is you have to make yourself as administrator. To make yourself as administrator, use this command. So sudo su space hyphen. So this will make you as an administrator. Now the next thing you need to do here is update the system. So maybe there might be some pending updates. So before starting anything, update the EC2 instance. So to update the EC2 instance, you can make use of this one yum update -y. So it will check for any updates. If there are no updates, it will show some message like this. After that, you need to install the MariaDB. So to install the MariaDB, why we are installing MariaDB? So to get the MySQL shell, we are installing this MariaDB 105. So to install here any IDE, so to install any software here, you can make use of this one. So I am install MariaDB 105. So now this will install MariaDB in your computer, in your virtual computer. So you can see here MariaDB which was installed here. So now it has installed the MariaDB, and after this you need to connect with the MySQL database which you have created. So now we need to connect with the MySQL database. So to connect with this database, the command we use here is this one. So you look at this one, MySQL -h So here we have a value of -h. So this is the property related to the database, and this is the port number at which it is running. And after -u, you can find the name of the. So while creating database, you have created a username and password. So here, this is the one which we use while connecting with the database. Let me give this with, let me show this without giving any values. So you look at this command once. So this is the command we have used here to connect with the MySQL database we have created. MySQL -h something, -p something, -u something, -p. So after -h, we need to give the endpoint related to the MySQL database we have created. And after -p, we need to give the port at which this database related service is running. And after -u, we need to give the username uh, for connecting with this database. And after running this command, it will be asking us for the password to connect with this one. So here you can see now. So to connect to the database instance we have created. So to connect with the database instance, so here so you open the EC2 in okay. So in the RDS database we have created, you can find the option like this. So you can find here, so this is the database we have created. So in the properties of the database we have created, you can find here the endpoint. So this is the endpoint using which we can connect with this database. And this is the port at which this service is running. So we will be giving these options. So we need to give these properties while connecting with the database AWS. So I have just copied this value. So you copy the endpoint corresponding to this database and also the port number 3306. So the command we need to give here is mysql -h, and then we need to give the endpoint related to the database to which we want to connect. And after that, we need to give the username. So this is the one. So endpoint we have given here, and the next thing we need to give here is the port at which this service is running. So the port at which this service is running, you need to give here -p 3306. It is the port at which this service is running, and -u, the username which we have to use to connect with this database service database, and then small p. So before, so to get the MySQL shell, we have to do this. So MySQL -h, this is the endpoint connect related to the database we have created, and this is the port at which the RDS database is running, and this is the username for connecting with the database. And when you run this command, it will ask you for the password. So remember one, so you recollect one thing: while creating database, we have set an username and password. So that we have given after you. After you, we have given the name of username, and now you need to give the password. So the password I have said there is administrator, even though it is not visible to you, the password. So while typing the password, it might be not visible to you. Even then you type the password and press enter button. So once you give the username and password, once you give the password, you are able to see MySQL shell like this. So look at this one. So now you have connected with the database RDS instance which you have created. And now, so in this, you can create a database now. So we have created an RDS instance, and in that we are creating a database. So I am creating a database with the help of this one, create database student. Now it has created a database. To make this database active, you have to use this command, use student. Now you can see here database changed. Then you can see, if you want to see the tables which are present here, you can use this command, show tables. So it is not having any tables right now. So you can create table, you can insert data into that. You can do all these operations. Let me create a simple table. So now we are having, so you are already aware of variety of, you are already aware of all these things. How to create the table. So I have just copied the command to create the table. So you look at this one. This is the table I have created, employee underscore table. It is having the columns ID, name, occupation, age, and I have made ID as the primary key. And you look at this one, ID is, so primary key of ID means we have made this one as the primary key, and we have put some conditions on this. So ID is integer and ID is of type, it should be not null. And the next one is name. It is of type variable character, which can hold up to 45 characters. And next one is occupation, next attribute. Its size is of, so it is of variable character, and its size is 35. And then age, it is an integer. Its value should be not null. So this is how I have created a table. And then now you can see the scheme of this one. So the name of the table I have created here is employee underscore table. So describe name of the table will give the schema of the table. You can see here the schema of the table. How many fields are there? What are their types? What are the different conditions set up on them? So you can see here. Now you can see show table. You can use the command show tables. So here you can see the name of the table which is present here. Okay. So you can use the commands like this, and in the same manner you can so you can create let me create another set of tables. So I have created one more table, persons. So this is having variables, fields in it, person ID, last name, first name, address, something like this. And let me create another table. So I'm using the existing commands here. So I've just copied here and I'm just pasting them here. Now let me, so you can use the up arrow, down arrow for for getting the previously typed commands. So now I am using show tables. So now it has shown me the tables which are present in this database. So we are having now the tables persons, employee underscore table pet. And let me see what is there inside this tables. So it is not having any data. So in this way, you can create the tables and you can insert data into them. You can delete data from them. You can update data in them. So just like SQL plus, from this you can connect with the database and you can do all these variety of operations. So this is about my SQL shell. So let me review the steps here. So the first thing here is, at first we have created a key pair. At first we have created a key pair, and after that we have created an EC2 instance. And EC2 instance let us create the virtual computer. And after that we have created an RDS instance. So this is the one which supports the MySQL database. So here we have chosen MySQL. And so while creating this RDS instance, it has shown an option to connect with the EC2. So there we have chosen the already existing EC2 instance. And finally, we have gone to EC2 dashboard, and there we have used we have selected the EC2 instance and we connected with that instance. And then you will be getting a terminal. In the terminal, we have used these commands. At first, we made ourselves as administrator. For that, we have used this command. Then we are installing any pending updates with the help of this one. And after that, we are installing MariaDB with the help of this command. And then we are connecting with the MySQL database with the help of this one. So MySQL -h, and after this you have to give the endpoint property which is present in the database which we have created. So this is the endpoint property which you can find in the MySQL database created. And after this -p, after -p, you need to give the IP port number at which this service is running, this database is running. And after you need to give the username related to this database. And when you run this, so this is the one we have used here. You look at the next line. So here we have used the endpoint of the database created. And here we have to give the port number. Here we need to give the username. And when you run this command, it will ask you for the password of the username given after -u. Then you need to give it. And after that, in this RDS instance, you can create the database with the help of this one. So create is the command, create database is the command to create any database in the RDS instance. So it is the name of the database you want to create. And to make this active, you can use this command, use name of the database. And afterwards, you can create variety of tables. You can insert data in them. You can you can execute variety of SQL commands here. So this is what we have done here. So in this way, you can connect with the relational database. You can work with the relational databases in uh, with the help of the RDS instance. And when you want to exit from this, you can make use of the Control C command. So Control C will let you get out of this MySQL shell. So in this way, you can connect, you can work with the RDS databases. And next one is, so as so till now, so we have worked with the relational databases. And next is we can what is the different, what is the services which are able to support in the cloud, the NoSQL databases. So to work with the NoSQL databases, there are so many services available in the AWS. So one of the most popular service which is related to this NoSQL service is NoSQL database is DynamoDB. Let me show you how to create this DynamoDB and how to create variety of how to create database in it, how to create entries into this one. So you know the drawbacks of the relational databases. So these relational databases are with so many drawbacks. So because of this reason, so maybe it is not able to support the complex data. Maybe when large traffic. So in while working with the e-commerce sites, there might be lots of data. So when there is so much of traffic or so many people are using so when the number of users are more, they might be not preferring the usage of this relational database. So in that case, they will go for this NoSQL database. So one of the most popular NoSQL database service is DynamoDB. So let me cover this DynamoDB. So to work with this, to create the DynamoDB, you search for here. So just beside the services, you can find here DynamoDB. So this is the one of the most popular NoSQL database service. So when you search for DynamoDB, you will be able to see this option. So in the DynamoDB, so in the DynamoDB dashboard, you are able to see here an option create table. When you click on this create table, it will. So when you want to create a database, when you want to create this one, you click on this button create table. Now it will ask you for the, in the next screen, it will be asking you for these options. So first you need to give here the name of the table. So let it be student one. And here partition key. So let me give here some student underscore number. Let it be some partition key. So it is the part of the primary key of the table. You can set here the type of this one. And based on which attribute they are supposed to be sorted, you can give that one also here. And here these are the default options, you don't change any of them. So here you just give the name of the table and what is the partition key. So it is a part of the primary key. Okay, so this is the name of the table student one, and it is having a partition key. I have created only, I mean the table might be having several attributes. Right now I have created only one attribute, it is student underscore number. And then you finally click on this attribute, this button create table. Now this will create a table for me in the NoSQL DynamoDB. So here you can see now the table created. So when you want to see what is there inside this, you click on this one. So when you click on this, you are able to see the options like this. So what is the name of the table? What is the, so right now, so you look at this one. So here we have only one attribute. That attribute is student underscore NO and it is of type string. So if you want to see what is there inside the table, you can create the name of the table. You can see here student one. So this is NoSQL database. Remember that. So DynamoDB here it need not satisfy any schema or any other normal form, etc., etc. You can uh, so here it is a NoSQL database. So when there is so much of traffic, so when so many people make use of a database, need some data from database, in that case we make use of this kind of NoSQL databases. Now we are working with the DynamoDB, which belong to that category. And here, when you want to see what is there inside this table, you click on this button, Explore Table Items. So now this will show you what is there inside this one. So right now you are able to see here items returned 0. There are no rows in this table. So let me add some attributes and so here you just wait. So here you are able to see the table. When you want to do some operations on the table, okay, now you look at this one. So in this way, so when you want to add items to this one, you can use this one. So this is the table right now. So the name of the table here is student one, and it is right now having 0 items. So when you want to create the items, you go to this actions. Just beside the action, you have the option create item. You click on this create item. Now it will show you the option like this. So here we have only one attribute. And when you want to create a new attribute, you can go to this one, add new attribute. So to add so suppose I want to add an attribute which is of type string. You select here string. So what is the name of that attribute you give here? Let it be some student underscore name. And let us make the number as some 1 and the name as this one. And when you want another attribute, so I'm adding here the so I'm adding here a row into the table, and I'm also setting here the attributes. So now I have created an item here. So the number of columns over here are student number, college, name of the student, like this. You need not maintain the same attributes on the next row. If you want, you can add more attributes. Let me create another item, another attribute. So here I have another. I'm creating another one. So the second one. So you can use different attributes here. Let me make some of them common. Okay. So you can use here, you need not use every time the same attributes. That is the merit of this one. So now I have created one more item. Now when you see this, so it will be right now showing the, so in NoSQL database, you need not maintain same attributes in all the rows. You can maintain different attributes for different rows. So when you see the first row here, it is having college, location, student name. Coming to the second one, it is having some other set of attributes. Anyhow, there is one key using which you are able to distinguish them. It is student NO. So in this way, you can work with, you can create the NoSQL databases. And in this itself, we are having one more. So this AWS itself is having, is providing us an IDE from where we can, so where we can create the, where we can create the Java programs or Python programs and we can run them. Let me show you that also. Please just wait. So here itself we have, so in AWS we have a service called Cloud9. So in Cloud9 you can create, you can run your own programs without depending upon Eclipse or Visual Studio Code, NetBeans, etc., etc. So you can create here the IDE, and there you can, so when you want to have this IDE, you click on this option, create environment. So you give the name here, let it be env2. So here you need to, so let me remove the EC2 instance which is already present. So here it is creating a new instance. Please just wait. Okay, let us try with the new one. Okay, here you can make use of this Cloud9, which you will be, so there you will be able to work with the variety of programs. You can write your own programs without depending upon any IDEs like Eclipse, Visual Studio Code, NetBeans. So instead of installing these tools, running Java programs, C# programs, Python programs, instead of doing that, you can depend upon this IDE called Cloud9. Here you can run them. Actually, there is some problem with the EC2 instance. We need to delete that. After that, it will definitely work. So if possible, maybe in the next sessions, we will plan to cover, we will plan to explain about this one. Anyhow, let me so stop this here. So today's session we have covered working with the databases, relational databases and NoSQL databases. So creating EC2 instance, RDS instance and connecting to that RDS instance from EC2, and finally NoSQL database creation and adding in that especially we have worked with the DynamoDB, and in that we created table, we have added variety of items. Okay, let me stop here. Let me hand over the session to Dr. Kiran Kumar Garu. Sir.